This week in Jamaica Now. Tearful moments at West Kingston Enquiry as a witness testifies that loved ones were killed in cold blood during the 2010 operation. Meanwhile, businessman says he lost more than $12 million in 2010 Tivoli incursion. Government says no additional spending, and thieves plague Christmas tree in capital city Kingston. The details of these and other stories coming up after the break.
There's a story behind my skin. My only makeup? True Match.
Only True Match has L'Oreal's technology to match your skin's unique tone and undertone. 100% guaranteed.
My skin, my story, my True Match.
From L'Oreal.
I'm Carleen Brown, and this is Jamaica Now. There were more tearful moments at the West Kingston Commission of Inquiry last week as witnesses testified about how their relatives were allegedly killed in cold blood by members of the security forces during the May 2010 operation in Tivoli Gardens. Among those who broke down in tears was elderly Tivoli resident Joan McCarthy. She told the commission that the police murdered her grandnephew Andre Smith and son-in-law Dwayne Edwards.
When I went up there now...
This is your house?
Yes, my
Upstairs.
house.
Okay.
I went in Dwayne's room for I know I saw them pass with him body, but I just can't, I can't believe it. I was barefooted. And as I went to my room door and step in, I feel I step into something yucky. So I says, what this now? So when I grip the light now and look,
What did you see, Miss McCarthy?
it's
What have you stepped
one
in?
pool of blood I step into at my doorway. One pool of blood. And I turn out back now. And I started to bawl. I actually get senseless now. And I go down back and I started to bawl and say, Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. I go upstairs and I walk in Dwayne blood upstairs. I walk in Dwayne blood upstairs and I started to bawl.
Meanwhile, another witness, Dawn Brown, testified that she has not seen her son since the police military operations in Tivoli Gardens in 2010. Ms. Brown testified that a relative told her that her 16-year-old son, Dale Davis, was taken from their Tivoli Gardens home by soldiers. Ms. Brown said she has made several unsuccessful attempts to find her son, and hairdresser and vendor Rosalind Newton recounted that while she and others were laying on the ground, she saw a policeman taking her nephew around a corner, and moments later she heard gunshots. Newton said that was the last time she saw him alive.
I hear shot been firing still, but why I say that it's a police killed my nephew is pure fire coming out of his gun to the direction where London walking.
Take time, take time.
Meanwhile, a Tivoli Gardens resident told the Commission of Inquiry that at one point during the 2010 police military operations in Tivoli Gardens, he saw a truck filled with dead bodies. John Green recounted how soldiers made repeated attempts to take his stepson from their home. However, Green said he could not count the number of bodies that were in the truck.
I couldn't tell you how many bodies in the truck, but it come in like a scene like when you kill cows and throw their pig and you throw them in the truck. You just throw them in truck and pack up on one another, each other.
He also testified that he saw civilians putting another body in the vehicle. And the West Kingston Commission of Inquiry also heard testimony from business operators who said they suffered major losses as a result of the May 2010 incident. One such operator was Valin Joyles, who testified that a plaza he operated with his family was commandeered by the security forces and that he was denied access to the premises for 6 weeks. Joyles said there was damage to several pieces of equipment, some of which had bullet holes, and that some items such as alcohol were missing. The businessman said his losses amount to more than $12 million. In other news, Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips says the government will resist all attempts to have it increase spending. Dr. Phillips said the Portia Simpson Miller-led government is not prepared to allow the country's economic program to go awry. The Finance Minister made the declaration in the House of Representatives last week as he responded to calls from opposition spokesman on finance Audley Shaw for greater allocation of funding to areas such as education, public cleansing and the health sector.
The sense of falling over the precipice into fiscal oblivion is not immediate now. And people have forgotten what it was when reserves were disappearing by the minute. And people have forgotten when we couldn't raise a dime in capital markets. It doesn't mean that the danger is past. We have to maintain fiscal prudence. It is not possible for people to say, spend more, raise no taxes, and at the same time don't increase the debt. That does not compute.
The legislators were debating the revised estimates of expenditure, which has seen the national budget of $540 billion being reduced by $739 million. The Gordon Butch Stewart-led Gore Stew Limited has lost its bid to get a higher court to reverse the dismissal of the charges against 3 former executives who were accused of defrauding the Appliance Traders Limited Pension Fund. The Supreme Court has rejected an application filed by Gore Stew, which was seeking leave to go to the Judicial Review Court to challenge the decision of the magistrate who acquitted the former executives. Justice Carol Lawrence Beswick upheld legal arguments that it was a breach of the Constitution for a person to be tried twice for the same offense. The Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, KSAC, has moved to review security arrangements at the St. William Grant Park as thieves have been vandalizing the Christmas tree in the park. Town Clerk Robert Hill says since the tree was unveiled on December 3, unscrupulous persons have been removing items such as ornaments, lights, and decorative presents. He says the KSAC is disappointed that persons would vandalize something which is meant to bring joy and goodwill to the public. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Caroline Brown, and as we go, pictorial highlights of Week 2 of the West Kingston Commission of Inquiry.